luxury of training your computer rather than coding it. Yeah? 10, 20, 30 years ago, you coded and you optimized your code to get it to perform. Now, I don't need that. I can just have generic learning taking place. So just to say, that's why it's happening now. There's one more factor, back to the consumer. There's one more factor. The iPhone came out 10 years ago. Yeah? Before the iPhone, apps were something we installed on PCs. They were often, even though they were connected to the internet, they didn't do anything about collecting data. Yeah? What happens today is that every app is collecting data. The Uber app collecting the GPS ping all the time. Yeah? Every single app on your phone is collecting data. So, with that compute power and with all the data in the world, we can suddenly start training on that data and improve, say, recommendations, predictions, whether you're going to purchase something or not.
Right. So let's come back on predict and recommendation, but move on a little bit, because the other thing that has changed in the world beyond compute power is the extreme connectivity and the fact that things are now connected and everything requires an interaction. A point of connection is my mobile. When you're on your mobile, you require instantaneous gratification, no matter what it is. Whether you're trying to download Avatar instantly while you're in the pre-TSA line, or you're trying to do something else. Whether you're trying to buy something, get a recommendation. So the confluence of the two. Do you feel that if we weren't in this level of a connected world and compute had picked up, that we would have still been in this mega AI sort of crazed world?
I think that all those things have to come together. If one of them had been missing, I don't think it would have happened. And that's why there is a lot of skeptics around and say there's a lot of hype going on, and maybe there is, but I don't really worry too much about that, because I think that the results are speaking for themselves. And it is really the confluence of the data, of the compute power, and of the constant and instant connectivity.
Well, we wouldn't have a session on AI if we didn't talk about the machines taking over, right? Because that would be the age of superintelligence, and I, for one, don't think really we're quite there, where machines are going to take over, but there is a lot of concern about AI. Do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, I think it's fair to have some concern. What we're seeing is a lot of breakthroughs happening rapidly, almost on a, if not weekly, monthly basis, where we give systems certain basic skills. Let me give an example of computer vision. We actually did, a couple of weeks ago at Unity, we did a small experiment of training a computer to play a game. Yeah? And in the old days, I would have sort of plugged into the game and tried to get the game state transferred to the other computer to learn to play the game. Yeah? But what we're doing nowadays is we basically take the pixels, the view, and we let the other computer train on the game by just looking at the pixels coming back. We don't tell it anything about the rules, and then we say, go practice. And then after 10 minutes gets a little better, after an hour gets a little better, and after 6 hours is better than any human player. But the integration point was not an old-fashioned interface, programming interface. The integration point was vision, and that is new. That you couldn't do that 3 years ago. Dramatic change. So we created this artificial player in just a few days, just 2 days actually. But I could actually now put another game up there, and it could run that game there would be no integration. It's just the view.
So should people be worried about being known too well, with all the advances and everything being collected about you, whether you know it or not? Is that a real danger?
Yeah, I think there's a real danger and a real benefit, because we will never get really lost any longer. Not only does the phone know where we are, but other systems know that too. But I do want to emphasize that with strong progress in the space of computer vision, speech recognition, we will sort of experience systems that we can easily interface with, and they can easily interface with us. But at one point, of course, those systems can also recognize key problems for retailers competing against Amazon is that whenever you visit Amazon, they know who you are. Yeah? And they can put up everything on that page is custom just for you. Everything is based on what are you likely to click on. Yeah? When I go into a department store, they don't know anything.
They don't know you're there.
Yeah. But what if the camera up in the ceiling could recognize me since last time I was there? And it tracked me last time and knew exactly what I was looking at. Yeah? So they could have someone come over and help me and guide me over and buy the pants that I didn't decide to buy last time, but this time I get a little nudge that way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So computer vision could go
What
in
other
and-
examples of computer vision are you imagining? Because their uses are many. What are some of the other examples that you think beyond retail?
Beyond retail, computer vision, I saw a fantastic example last week. It's basically spraying herbicides on fields, yeah? But you use a little camera sitting in the back of the tractor, and it will basically recognize weed over the corn that you're growing, and it will just have a nozzle, and it will just spray herbicide on the weed, and not on everything. Small example of applied computer vision. Again, something you couldn't do 3 to 5 years ago.
So when you think about the potential of AI, where we are now, we talked a little bit about beyond analyzing is the predicting and improvement, right?
Yep.
Because the whole idea of going to Amazon, which is very fun, is not knowing just what I bought, which I know from my invoice, is knowing what I could buy and eventually being led certain paths that I wouldn't have. So how do you see that prediction working for enterprises that haven't yet deployed things like this?
Yeah, I think there's a very important point there. When we say prediction, it's really just an action in a chain. Yeah? Predictions needs to be seen in the context of what we call exploration and exploitation. Yeah? The exploration phase is early on when I don't know what you're interested in, so I will recommend random things. But over time, I notice what you're purchasing, so I move into what we call the exploitation phase, where I have a pretty strong sense of what you're interested in. However, it would be a mistake to get stuck there. So what you have to maintain is an element, 20% exploration, where the system keeps probing your interest in other things. More recently, we have seen developments where we actually use techniques from game playing, where we remember sequences, where we understand that when you buy something, that's a part of a process where you soon are going to buy something else. You may buy pants, but now you need shoes. You may watch one movie by a director, and now you want to watch the next movie of that director. Not the sort of, the rare scene movie, but the next most famous movie. So you have these sequences to it. So keep thinking about machine learning having this loop in there. So every time you do something, every time you click on something, every time you see something,